If you clicked on this video, you are a fellow NBA sicko who cares about the cap, cares about the contracts. We're going to be diving into the numbers and seeing where Jalen Duren lands among some of the NBA's best centers, old and young. I mean, he's not having a career year from points. He's at 11.2. Last year was 13.8. Last year was a total season of let me get mine and let me figure out how I can get better. This year, total script flip, especially from Jalen Duren. Last year, you saw Jalen Duren taking the ball up and just putting up ill-advised shots. He is making moves. He is playmaking. He's looking like a hub on the offensive end, especially at the free throw line, able to do bounce passes, throw lobs to Asar Thompson in the break. He's just overall a better player, so I'm not worried about only averaging 11 compared to 13. He's up in assists, 2.6 from 2.4, over a block a game, 1.2. Previous high was 0.9 in his rookie season. But being over that whole number, that number one right there, that's a really good sign for him. And how he's been playing recently. I mean, he had 4 blocks last night and 6 the night before. That's 10 total over the past 2 games. I'm hoping he can get that up to 1.4, 1.5 by the end of the season. That'd be a huge improvement. Just talking about a guy who came in, you knew he was an offensive dude, but he was really raw defensively. I mean, looking at rebounds, he's also down from 11 to 10. But the big thing for me is in field goal percentage. He's shooting 70.3% from the field on 6.5 attempts a game. That's up 9% from last year. And rookie year, actually a surprising 64.8. But that puts him at number 3 in the league in terms of field goal percentage. And that's only behind Walker Kessler at 72.7 and Jarrett Allen at 70.7. So he's only 0.4 away from being in the number 2 slot in terms of field goal percentage. But overall, I mean, I hope the stats prove to you that he is a much improved player this year. And if you can't just look at the win total alone and notice that he's been a huge factor in it, I don't know what to tell you. And when you're looking at all of these players in the league, where is he going to slot? That's the toughest thing to figure out. Because Miles Turner making 20, he's going to get a big payday. Clint Capella, I mean, he's what? How many years left does he have? 2 years left on this contract? Oh, I guess it was when they were signed. But Clint Capella, I'm pretty sure that was an older contract, and that was big for the time. So he's going to be above that 22. He's definitely going to make more than a 35-year-old Brook Lopez at 24. Obviously, Brook does things differently and is more refined on the defensive end. Looking at Nick Claxton, he's going to make more than Nick Claxton because he showed more on the offensive end. And he's shown he can compete at the same defensive intensity that a Nick Claxton can. Maybe it's a little bit more inconsistent, but he's figuring things out. Isaiah Hartenstein, this is where it gets close. Because these are some names where Isaiah Hartenstein, I think he got a lot of that money to go to OKC rather than staying in New York. So I think he's a little bit of an outlier. I think if you're talking about the player value in terms of the contract, I think that should be a little bit lower there. But you look at Jarrett Allen, $30 million a year, one of the best defenders in the NBA. Actually, a little bit lower in the block total than I thought he would have been. But, I mean, when you have Mobley kind of snagging all those, that kind of makes a little bit of sense. And now you're getting into the range where it makes sense to slide Duren somewhere in here, at least in terms of player comparisons. I think he's under skill-wise, of course, from Bam Adebayo. You look at DeAndre Ayton, he got a big $33 million contract. Bam Adebayo, I still think has the edge on Jalen Duren. Jarrett Allen, I already mentioned, I think does as well. But then the other thing is look at Şengün at $37 million. I don't think you're going to see Jalen Duren sign for $37 million a year, especially because that's the same as Anthony Davis. And then you see that big jump up to Rudy Gobert at 41. I mean, if I'm trying to fit Jalen Duren into here, if he's playing like how he's playing right now the rest of the way, I could see him easily signing a contract upwards of 30, 31, 32 million, being among the top 12 highest paid centers in the league. And that's without considering other centers that signed this offseason as well. It's also an interesting discussion to think about. Are they going to sign him to an extension directly, or are they going to let him go to restricted free agency, match whatever's offered? I think you have an advantage signing him now, getting that locked up. I mean, if you send him to restricted free agency, the contract could only potentially get bigger. And he's showing from game to game he's getting better. So if you go from right now till the end of next season, that's a huge jump in growth in development. And you don't want to have a team that has a bunch of cap space. I don't even know who there could be like this. I'm not even going to put out a name right now. But you could see one of those teams offer up close to a max deal, and then the Pistons almost have to accept it because Cade Cunningham lives and dies by the pick and roll. That's a majority of how this offense functions. I mean, it might not always lead to an oop to Duren or a Cade midi or Cade getting inside, but it leads to open shooters. It opens to the defense having to collapse, and it opens to better looks overall. And I know a lot of people said, and I used to be of the opinion that just go get an older vet who can just set good screens for you. But what Jalen Duren also provides is the playmaking. So when he gets the ball, he can make the right read quickly. He can take the ball and go coast to coast. I mean, give me a break, man. If he puts it together on the defensive end, he's going to be well worth a $30 million contract. The scary thing for Detroit, though, is you are starting to get locked into the core you have. Cade Cunningham got the rookie max, and if he makes the All-NBA team, that's only going to go up. So if you give Jalen Duren $30 million, Jaden Ivey coming off the injury, I'm not really sure he's going to get an extension outright. I think he's going to be a good go to restricted free agency unless they do something similar to what we've seen in the past. I'm pretty sure Curry did this as well. You just take the smaller extension. Like I said, Trajan Langdon has had a good history of making sure to maintain flexibility, but at some point, Cade Cunningham's already paid. Jalen Duren is probably going to get paid. Asar Thompson is going to get paid. So if you have a lot of your money into those three, how can you maneuver around the edges to make your team better? Cool. Well, that's all we have today on the Leggy Sports Show. Like I said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Comment anything. Video ideas, things I said that were stupid, things I said that were so cool. But we'll be back at it again because we have daily Pistons content. Talk to you later.